Let's hit race, because you're a white only group?
So the organization only allows people of American ethnicity, right? Which I think it's an ethnicity, who and all Americans, I believe, come from Europe, so they're white. Essentially, yes. The answer is, and we do that because it's a matter of representation. Do I think other races are bad? Do I want to hurt them? No, I don't. We have a specific interest in persisting and prevailing a certain culture and heritage, right? What we see as our ethnic interest. And in order to embody and represent that, just like a government, we want to represent it, we need to compose ourselves of it. Just like, again, we try to act like a good government should. If our government was trying to represent the interest of American, the people whose families have been for 100 years, but every single person in the government was Indian or Russian or Chinese or Jewish, would they be able to do that? Absolutely not. What's the incentive? Right?
Yeah,
different people have different interests.
I have to disagree a little bit, though, because they say, okay, what about the natives? You can't say they're not Americans. The black people were brought over here, a lot of them, and forced to be slavery. I don't think it's not fair to say they're not Americans. The Chinese came over and built our railroads. So this is where I do think white people did a ton for building the country, and I am very pro-white.
Yes.
But I think it's kind of unfair to say they're not Americans, too.
Sure. So, when you're talking about the Indians or the tribal nations, the term Native American.
Both say Native American now, which I don't understand why.
Exactly. Well, before Europeans came here, there was no America. The Algonquin and the Cherokee didn't call themselves Americans before the 1960s, actually. The term Native American was coined in the 1960s when everybody was supposed to be a hyphenated American, except for, of course, European Americans or white Americans or whatever, which I think were just Americans. But, the hyphenated Americanism and applying that to the tribal nations, I think it's a form of neoliberal colonialism. You're trying to force everybody in this identity. And a lot of people, they didn't want it because they've never been, you talk about the culture of these tribal nations, whether it's the Blackfoot or Comanche or Cherokee, they have a thread of continuity in being culturally, ethnically, religiously, and socially, even financially, economically, geographically distinct from us that goes back hundreds of years. And you see this with blacks too. Ever since they were brought over, there have been differences. There has never been full integration between, and that's okay.